Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Um, I've had some interesting conversations with my clients this week, being the last, actually, today is the last day of January. But as we were approaching the last week of January, it's how are we doing on these really big goals that we set at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I'm having similar conversations with my clients as well, especially the ones where we've put some goals in place for them last year. And now we're doing some annual reviews and seeing how they're doing towards those goals and if we need to make any adjustments or anything with what their current plan looks like.
So that's interesting. You can actually change a goal after you make a goal.
Yeah. A
Isn't that
lot of people
fascinating?
don't think about that, right?
Right. So I did some math because, us being the number crunchers, we got to have some math behind it.
Yep.
So on January 31st, 8% of the year is gone.
Hmm.
Listen to me, people, 8%, not 100%, 8%, just eight,
Yeah. Just
just
eight.
eight.
Not even 10%.
No, 8%. We are beneficial enough to have a leap year this year. So we have 335 days left of the year. And we have a bonus day in February. So we have 29 days in February to get back on the wagon and start working towards these goals.
Yep. And what I've seen a lot of people say, and I definitely don't hate it, whatever works for people, is if they started January with big goals and they just weren't happening or they couldn't get the habits in place or whatever else, they're going to try again February 1st. They're just going to they need a fresh month or a fresh day to just start over again, and whatever you need, that works.
Yeah. And you could even do it this afternoon, right?
You could get started right before.
Yeah. I mean, so we don't have to start on a Monday. We
Hmm.
can, but we
Yeah.
don't have to. We don't have to start on the 1st. We can start on the 31st at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And we can even change our goal. This is just fascinating. Just so
Right?
fascinating. Yeah. So, I mean, but it's so normal. So I don't want anybody to feel like they're broken and they just can't. No, people, no, no. We're just so conditioned that diets start on Monday, or we can't start until the first, or whatever story you're telling yourself, because we keep going back to these stories.
Hmm.
It's just not true. I mean, you can sit down after you watch this, realign your goals, and even break it down to maybe the next 29 days. Look at it just or the next 7 days, whatever works for you. Let's break that goal down into some smaller, bite sized pieces.
I think what a lot of people have is a fear of failure.
Mhm.
We were raised around the idea that failing was bad, that if you failed a test or if you failed at a goal or whatever else, that you were a failure and that was a reflection on you as a person.
Right.
And people don't realize failing means that you're trying something
And you're
and
learning.
you're learning. And people don't learn if they're not failing and taking the lessons from that and moving forward. So I would love to see people shift their mindset around failure and
Mhm.
not look at it as this negative thing, but look at it as an opportunity. Look at it as a chance to learn a lesson about something you're trying to move towards. And like we said, you can always start again. If
Mhm.
you fail at, working out every single day, maybe you have a 30-day challenge and you missed a day, it's okay. You can continue going, you can start over, you can do whatever else because you're learning and your mind is growing as you go through these situations. And so that's a big one to help people kind of get through their goals is don't be afraid to fail, just make sure you continue afterwards.
Well, and that brings up another really interesting point when you said miss a day. you don't have to be perfect either.
Right.
So missing 1 day out of 31 days, there's still 30 opportunities if we're looking at January. If we're reassessing January and we miss 1 out of 30 days, wow, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to celebrate those little improvements and not looking at them as, "I failed. I gotta
Right.
quit. The world is caving in right now because I missed 1 out of 30 days or 2 out of, you know, but I did nothing the month before." I mean,
Right.
look at what you did versus what you didn't do.
It tells you a lot if someone looks at the month and says either I achieved something 30 out of 31 days, or I failed or missed something 1 out of the 31 days. Like, it's again one of those half empty, half full type situations.
Mhm.
Are you looking at that goal or that achievement in a positive light or a negative light? Because if you're focusing only on the things that you've messed up or failed or missed or whatever else, then it's going to be harder for you to continue on that path and be able to do the things you want to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, what I like to relate it to is when a child is learning how to walk. That
Mm-hmm.
is that's the best example I have where we celebrate failure
Right.
as a society and as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Because when your child pulls up and falls down, we're like, "Oh my God, thank you. That is so amazing." So I
Right.
want you to go, all of you, I challenge you, whatever your goal is, whatever it is, every time you reach up and pull yourself up trying to walk, insert goal, if
Mm-hmm.
you don't do it, I want you to celebrate that you even attempted, because
Right.
that's what's going to keep you going.
Yes, exactly. It's like I said, it's focusing on the wins and the achievements that you have accomplished. Like, if you even just focus sometimes on that, like I've recommended to people spend a little bit of time in the evening before they go to bed just saying like, what were some of the amazing things that I accomplished today, or what did I win at today?
Mhm.
It's the same with like a gratitude list. If you're thinking about the positive things happening in your life, the things that you accomplished, and not focusing on what went wrong, what didn't happen, whatever else, like that is going to set you up for a positive trajectory of your goals and continuing to do the things because you're celebrating the stuff you're accomplishing.
Absolutely. That's such great advice.
Mm-hmm.
So, when we were talking ahead of time, I was like, let's come up with an example that people can actually feel, taste, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so, let's say I have a book that I want to read next month that's 290 pages.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a daunting task. I haven't
Sure.
read a book in years, and now I want to sit down and read 290 pages.
Yep.
But what if I told you that you could accomplish that by reading 10 pages a day?
Totally. It's doable.
Yeah. So instead of focusing on the 290 pages that you have to read, now you're focused on just 10 a day. Now,
Mm-hmm.
where my brain goes is, well, what if that's not a chapter? Okay, well, you can stop mid chapter. I mean, there are no rules around reading a book. So
Right.
I think the first step to sitting down and reading the book is, what obstacles do you anticipate that
Mm-hmm.
you're going, if you say, okay, I'm going to read 10 pages a day, what obstacles do you anticipate are going to come up? Okay,
Right.
it's mid chapter. What if I really get into it? Guess what, people? You can read more than 10. Right. I mean, it's just these funny things that come
Right.
up in our minds. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I'm guilty of this because I consider myself, I don't know if OCD is the right word to describe it, but I definitely am one of those people where, like, if I want to start something, I want to start it on a Monday or the beginning of a month because it just is. to me is like a symbolic, like starting of something.
Mhm.
Or, I want to finish the chapter or whatever else. Like, I'm absolutely guilty of this, but I know if I'm just trying to get something done, I don't necessarily have to abide by that rule.
Mhm.
There doesn't have to be a rule. It can seriously be at least 10 pages a day.
Mhm.
Like, just read at least 10. It doesn't have to be as soon as you're at page 10, you're like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, fit in at least 10. And then if you fit in 30 one day, amazing. You're even closer to your goal.
Mhm. We also need a visual of our progress because it's been said anything that you don't track isn't real.
Right.
There are a million gazillion free habit trackers out on the internet, or
So
you
many.
can make your own. You can
Mm-hmm.
even get out a piece of paper. And if you're a perfectionist, get you out a ruler. And on one side of the page, you list what all you want to accomplish. I would start with maybe 3 things in February. Maybe
Yes.
it's drink more water. Well, how much more water? Get
Right.
to the gym. Well, how much do you want to get to the gym? Maybe work on your finances 15 minutes a day. That
Right.
means you're going to work on your finances about 7.5 hours next month, whatever that means to you. List those out. And then at the top of the page, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 29. Make you
Mm-hmm.
some little boxes. And every time you accomplish that small goal, fill in the box, check it, exit off, go get you some stickers, put a sticker on, whatever lights you up.
Yep.
And don't be perfect. You can miss a day and still reach your goal.
Yes, I agree. And there's also a lot of free printables if people like paper stuff online of whatever you're looking to do. So if it's like tracking your reading, people have created these amazing like sheets where you can put in each day what you've read. There's like maybe a book on it or whatever else. And the same goes for savings goals. I have started to notice more and more savings goal challenges that people are doing where it's like a color in thing or a fill out thing where people are trying to save money every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And they will say, I put $5 in my savings account today, and they'll track it. And that's a great way for them to reach a larger goal, but to cut it down into smaller bite-sized pieces.
Yeah.
Because if you tell someone they have to save, $500 a month towards a goal, that seems huge. That seems daunting. But if
Mm-hmm.
you can break it down into much smaller chunks, or micro saving, micro investing, however you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
then it's a lot easier for them to digest and say, $5 a day doesn't sound bad. Guess
Mm-hmm.
what? That adds up to be a nice amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many ways that you can do that with your money, with savings, all of that.
Yeah. So let's use that example. So I just did 500 divided by 29.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to try to reach that goal in February.
Right.
So we're going to start with a larger goal and we're going to bring it out. That's
Right.
$17.24 a day. So that doesn't sound so big. I mean, that
Right.
may be, so I don't go out to lunch for the
Yep.
month of February, or I don't go out to dinner in February. You find the money.
Yeah.
But if I did 500 divided by the 335 days we have left,
Mm-hmm.
that's $1.49 a day. But do you see? I mean, our brain automatically goes, I don't have an extra $500. Well,
Mm-hmm.
but do you have an extra $1.50?
Yeah. And
So I
it's
think what we're trying to tell people, you just take the goal and let's break it down to
yep.
where it feels like I can do this. And if I miss a day, well, I know I can make up $3 one day, and still reach my goal by the end of the year.
Totally. It's like, if people are trying to save money for the end of the year, like we've talked about saving money for Christmas or, whatever else, if they had started in January 1st, saving $5 a day, by the time that they got to December 31st, it'd be $1,830.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really great number.
Yeah,
You could do a lot with $1,800.
I
And it's
could.
literally just $5 a day, right?
Right.
So it's really starting to break goals down into chunks. And that's another reason why some people have trouble reaching goals, is that they might make them a little too grandiose. And they don't know the difference between dreams and goals. Like, dreams are supposed to be grandiose. They're supposed to be these big, amazing, like, I will reach this thing. But the goal is actually, how are you going to get to that? Like, what are the actionable steps that you're going to take? And if your goals seem too far-fetched or too big, then you're not going to be able to do them. You have to keep breaking goals down until you know exactly what you need to do on a daily or weekly basis to get to that goal. And I think that's something about goal setting and everything that a lot of people have trouble kind of understanding.
Yeah, and so like your real big grandiose goals, I think I've heard, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, but if I come up with it, I'll yell it out. But it's when you have a big goal, break it up into 3 years.
Mm,
Even if you don't make it in 3 years, how far up the mountain can
right.
you get in 3 years? And you just start chunking away at it. And along the way, because when we have a really big goal, we don't know the challenges that are gonna come out. But we're open enough to learn, oh, I never even anticipated that. Okay, well, it might push my goal out another year, but I'm so much wiser than I was 1 year ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. I definitely agree. It's all about just creating actionable steps around those goals. The goal
Small.
itself is not the step.
Yeah,
The goal is a combination of multiple steps and action items to get to that goal. So
that's right.
I think it, when it's broken down, it can be much more manageable.
Yes. And again, I mean, this is what both of us do. I mean,
Mhm.
we can help clients take their really big goals or even what they consider not such a big goal and help them because we're not emotionally involved.
Right.
We don't come to the table with all the stories and how we can't achieve the goal. We
Mhm.
come to the table of, oh my God, that's so manageable.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And this is how I can see you getting there.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
learning more and more about yourself every single time you attempt. And that's what a goal is learning more about you and reaching those goals. Just
Yeah.
imagine how amazing we'll all feel at the end of this year as we reach all of these little goals that we've set for ourselves throughout the year.
Agreed.
Yeah.
100%.
So 8% of the year is gone. That's it. Not the entire year. It is not time to throw in the towel. It's time to
Yep.
get back to the table and let's figure out what we can get done in the month of February.
Yeah. It's a new month.
Yeah. New start. It's a new Monday. That's all I have. Did you have anything else to add?
No, I hope people really listen to this and uh, you know, think of ways that they can reach their goals and not to give up on them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and this afternoon I'm doing a rewrite your money story workshop. So I I'd love to see everyone there. Just go check out tons of links, and I'll put it in this recording as well.
Awesome.
All right. Well, until next week.
All right. Take care.